I've been thinking about connected cars and the privacy issues in the context of the Auto Drive project, and I'm working with Tim and other partners on the Auto Drive project. And I'm increasingly coming to the conclusion that cars are just becoming big computers on wheels. The technology in cars and around cars, so it's buildings, roads, things that we might bring into the car like phones, it's all moving at an absolutely phenomenal rate, as is data gathering from these devices. They are connecting huge amounts of data. They already are, but it will be even more so in the future. And that's data about not just the passengers and driver in the car, but potentially also people who may be in the vicinity of a car. So it might be, pedestrians and cyclists. There are a lot of interested parties in this data, so there is a lot of value in it, and none of them can afford to stand still. But in the race to get value out of this data, what they can't do is forget about data privacy either. And it's not just a legal maze that they're going to have to navigate, but actually, increasingly, it's becoming about trust. It's public perception. It's about your reputation as an organisation in using this data, about choice, consent issues, whether that's implied or explicit consent, and trust, whether people trust you with their data. And where we often end up is in ethical debates, really, which are around where is a comfortable balance that people are generally happy with in terms of giving up their privacy rights in return for something that is of value to them as an individual. Now, I mentioned there are a lot of interested parties. So, and I have a wheel here, and I'm going to name a few, but there will be loads and loads more than I'm going to name. So insurers, so you've had a session where you've heard about insurers. They are very interested in this data from cars. Finance and leasing. Manufacturers of cars, they are using personal data themselves. Dealerships. The aftermarket. Software and application developers. Telecoms providers, where you're bringing your phones into your car or it's becoming part and parcel of your car to communicate. The government is interested in data that can be collected from cars and the environment. Criminals, they're interested in data that can be collected from your cars. The data subject themselves, they may well be interested in their own data and making use of it, as may be their friends and family. Think about, for example, on the iPhone, where you have a sort of track my phone type mechanism. Well, your friends and family might want to track your car. Are you nearly home? What can you pick up for dinner on your way home? And the police, they're very interested in this data. Scenes of accidents, location, things like that. So all of these entities that are interested parties will, in some form or other, be using or gathering data that is collected via cars or in connection with cars. And they do that by your in-car telematics. So these are telematics that are built into your car. It might be through the infotainment or entertainment in your car, voice and data services, web services that may be in your connected car. Cameras. Now these cameras, we already have cameras on lots of cars on our roads where the cameras are facing outwards. There'll be more of that, certainly with driverless cars, because they'll need them. But there may also be cameras facing inwards into the cars. Your personal devices, so your wearables, your smartphone, your smart watch. I envisage a day where I may well get into a car and it tells me how much I weigh. Something on my wrist tells me, my pedometer tells me I haven't walked enough, and my car knows when I usually get to work and that I've got time to walk there, so the engine might not start. Black boxes, they'll be collecting data in cars. And there are plans to introduce legislation to collect information which is just before you have an accident. There will be all sorts of data collected and immediately afterwards. And actually someone was telling me that we can't assume that it's literally just before an accident or afterwards that this black box information will be collected, because there will be an element of location tracking which is on an ongoing basis. But we already have, regardless of black boxes, we already have vehicle location tracking systems. They're pretty common in a lot of cars nowadays. And possibly even eatables. I actually thought I'd made this term up, but actually I Googled it and it's out there already. And in case you're wondering what it is, it's already been talked about, food and medication that you can eat, you take into your body, and it will gather data about you from inside your body.